Shabbat Shalom. In her haunting poem, Mineged, the beloved Hebrew poet Rachel Bluestein offers a heartbreaking meditation on unfulfilled yearning. She was suffering from tuberculosis. Rachel had been forced to leave Kibbutz Degania, the Zionist settlement that she helped build. She moved to Tel Aviv, separated from the land and ideals that she loved most, and eventually she died there, never returning to the Kinneret, the Sea of the Galilee, which had been her spiritual home. In Mineged, Rachel turns to a moment from this week's Torah portion indirectly, but we'll come back to it. It's the moment towards the end of the Torah when Moshe is told to ascend Har Nebo, to ascend Mount Nebo, to look out across the land of Israel, the one that he had led the people through the wilderness to reach for 40 years, but the land that he will never enter. And the Torah tells us in Deuteronomy chapter 32, ascend these heights to Mount Nebo and view the land of Canaan, right? View the land of Israel, which I am giving the Israelites as their holding. And Rachel sees herself in this very gripping image, standing on the edge of her life's dream, watching it from afar, recognizing, knowing that she will never reach it. And so she writes in her poem, Mineged, from afar, attentive to the heart, the ear is listening, is anyone coming? Every expectation contains the sadness of Nebo, one facing the other, two shores of a single river, the rock of fate ever far apart. Spread your wings, she writes, see from afar. There no one is coming, to each his own Nebo in a land of plenty. It's an image of deep spiritual and personal pain, of expectation met with silence, of distance without redemption. Rachel and Moshe, two souls who are standing on different shores, share the same pain, the same ache. They both mourn the future they will never experience. Rachel will never return to Degania. And of course, Moshe will never cross the Jordan. And yet, neither story ends here. This week in Parshat Ve'etchanan, we encounter Moshe in one of, I think, the most emotionally raw moments of the Torah. After 40 years of carrying the Israelites through the wilderness, through the pain, after pleading with God, interceding on their behalf, guiding them through rebellion, through revelation and recovery, Moshe asks for one thing. Ve'etchanan el Adonai ba'et hahi lemor, Adonai, Adonai, ata, God, O God, I plead with you. Let me into the land. Let me, I pray, cross over and see the good land on the other side of the Jordan, that good hill country and the Lebanon. And God responds painfully to Moshe, Vayit aber Adonai bi lema'anchem velo shama elai, veyomer Adonai elai, rav lach, al tosif daber elai, od badavar hazeh. God says to Moshe, enough, right? God lashes out at Moshe. He was wrathful, the Torah tells us. Vayitaber, with me on your account, and wouldn't listen to me. And God said, enough. Never speak about this again. Go up to the summit, gaze about, look into the land. You will not be entering. Moshe was allowed to see the land from afar, but he would never enter. Like Rachel, Moshe stands on a ridge, the great leader who brought the people up from the cusp of a dream only to be denied entry. But our tradition doesn't leave it there. It's not only a story of punishment. Through the rabbinic filter, through the rabbinic lens, we find a powerful, unexpected metaphor. In the Midrash from the book of Deuteronomy, in a book called the Sifrei, the 2nd century sage Rabbi Yoshua offers a very interesting interpretation of the phrase, Vayit aber Adonai, that God became enraged with me. And rather than focus on the divine anger, Rabbi Yoshua hears a different resonance. He notices that Vayit aber shares a root with both avar, meaning to cross, and ibor, which in Hebrew means pregnancy. He imagines that Moshe had not simply been denied a crossing. He's been impregnated with the burden of his people. God, in a sense, had expanded the inner life of Moshe, not with punishment, but with people. Moshe didn't just lead the Israelites to the wilderness, he carried them. He gestated them. And the metaphor is echoed earlier in the wilderness in the book of Numbers, chapter 11, where the people are complaining, as usual, bitterly about the food situation, the manna. And Moses reaches his breaking point. And he turns to God and he says, "Why have you dealt ill with your servant? Did I conceive this people? Did I give birth to them that you say carry them in your bosom like a nursemaid carries an infant? I cannot carry this people alone. It's too heavy for me. It's too much for me," he says. Moshe feels swollen with frustration, burdened by the responsibility of leading this people through the wilderness, exhausted by carrying a people that he never chose to bear. In fact, he says outright, "If this is how you treat me, then take my life now." And yet, Moshe does not abandon the people. He keeps carrying. He keeps moving. He keeps nurturing a people not yet ready to be born. In rabbinic literature, ibor doesn't only refer to pregnancy. It refers to anything that has been expanded beyond its natural limits, like extending a city's boundaries, adding a leap year, or a leap month, to the year. To be me'ubar is to hold more than you actually thought you could contain. That was Moshe, stretched, burdened, enraged, enlarged, and ultimately he was transformed. He will not enter the land because that was never to be the end of his story. His greatness was in arriving, but in delivering others there. Now, this pattern of not reaching the final goal yourself, but giving birth to a future beyond you, is one of the most profound legacies that I think we inherit. King David is one of the clearest and most poignant examples. David dreamed of building the Beit HaMikdash, the temple in Jerusalem. He had every credential. He unified the tribes, he conquered Jerusalem, brought the Ark of the Covenant to the city with song and with dance. He wrote psalms that would one day echo through the courtyards of this temple. He had the vision, he had the passion, he certainly had the religious fire, but God told him no. In Chronicles 1, chapter 28, David gathers the people, recounts what God has said to him, and God says, "You will not build a house for me." After all David's done, God says this, "For you are a man of war. You have too much blood on your hands," God says to David. It would be his son, Solomon, a man of peace, a man of compromise, a man who pursued peace, who would complete the task. David could have despaired. He could have said, "Well, if I can't finish it, then what's the point? I might as well give up now." But he didn't. Instead, David poured himself into the preparation of building this sacred space. He drew up the architectural plans. He amassed the materials, the gold, the silver, the precious stones. He organized the Levites. He trained the priests. He wrote the prayers they would sing. And in one of his final speeches, David turns to his son and he says, "Be strong and courageous. Chazak v'ametz libecha," which, by the way, should resonate because in a couple weeks we'll start saying Psalm 27 morning and evening in our tradition, a psalm in preparation of the high holidays, which ends with Chazak v'ametz libecha. Be strong and have courage in your heart, for the Lord God will be with you. He will not fail you until all the work of the house of the Lord is finished. David never actually stepped foot into the temple that would be built, but he made it possible for others to do so. He stood on his own Mount Nebo and he gave the next generation a way to cross. Herzl did the exact same thing. Herzl gave his life to the dream of a Jewish homeland. He organized the first Jewish Congress. He wrote the Jewish state. He met with world leaders, mobilized scattered hopes of a broken people, and yet Herzl dies in 1904, essentially from exhaustion, more than 40 years before the state of Israel was to be founded. In fact, he never set foot in a sovereign Jewish land. Yes, he went to Palestine, but never did he step foot in a sovereign Jewish land. And like David and like Moshe, Herzl dies in heartbreak. At the Sixth Zionist Congress, Herzl proposed a temporary refuge in East Africa for Jews facing immediate danger, the infamous Uganda plan, which wasn't in Uganda. He never saw it as a replacement for the land of Israel, but others did, and this idea splits the movement. Delegates walk out, publicly challenging his leadership, and he dies not long after, believing that the Zionist project that he literally dedicated his life to was unraveling. He stood at his own Nebo, but we stand in the land that he dreamed of. Herzl never entered the land, but he gave birth to a people who would. This is what it means to have a Mount Nebo in your life. It's not failure. It's not defeat. It's the sacred, heartbreaking, beautiful work of giving birth to something that may only come to life after you are gone. And each of us, in our own way, carries something, a dream, a vision, a hope. Each of us labors to bring it into being through our children, through our communities, through our students, through our values. We may not see the end of the journey, but we may help someone else begin it. That's what it means to be a leader in the tradition of Moshe. That's what it means to live a life of ibur, of gestation, and to stand with love and longing on our own collective Mount Nebos. And perhaps it's no coincidence that we are just 6 weeks away from Rosh Hashanah, the first Shabbat of comfort. The high holidays are themselves a kind of Nebo moment, a time of standing on the edge of what was as we look back and what could be as we look to our future. And we pause and we look across the landscape of our lives. We ask, what have we carried? What are we still laboring to bring into this world? What dreams are we close to but just haven't quite reached yet? And we ask, how can we make peace with what we may never fully enter while still building a path, clearing those trees for those who come after us? Moshe stood at the border of the land, and he gave us Torah. David prepared for a temple that he would never see. Herzl died thinking the dream had collapsed, and now his name is on a mountain in Jerusalem. May we too be worthy of such legacies, to birth something bigger than ourselves, to hand it forward, to bless the next generation, and to see even from afar the promise that is still unfolding. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you for joining the Park Avenue Synagogue family. I hope you enjoyed the sermon. Please consider supporting our online community by scanning the QR code or by going to supportpas.org or by making a donation. Shalom and see you in Shul.